Hello and welcome to the Dad Strength Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Leahey. Today on our essential items list for new dads, I'm going to go ahead and talk about baby swings. Now, this could be controversial depending on how you put your child to sleep, but I found when our child was first born, it was much better and easier to put them in a swing to help them take naps. So, our daughter, whenever she was born, would fall asleep on us. But it makes it much easier, instead of just holding your child during nap time, to go ahead and put her in a swing, and then she can rock back and forth. Now, we had ours, it was fairly big. I can't remember if we bought it new or if we went the used route, but basically the swing it was maybe 2 or 3 feet tall, and it had a speed setting, and it swung her side to side, I think, not front to back. They had a couple different ones. I remember whenever I was a little kid, we had a swing that would swing us front to back like you would see at a playground. Well, this swing swung side to side, I believe. And it really helped just put her at ease so she would want to go in it. And now, again, if this is for very young children, ones that aren't mobile and aren't going to be able to get up and move around or put themselves to sleep, they're ones that are just going to kind of lay. So it helps them get comfortable, because the motion, when they don't have the muscle control to kind of sink into a bed themselves, the swing motion can go ahead and help them sink into position just so that they're comfortable and ready to fall asleep. Now, I do think that there were different levels of padding with it. I had to dig it out, but we actually took it all apart. So that's another thing. Make sure you get one that can break down, because if you're going to have multiple kids, or you want one just that you can put out of the way, ours broke down, so you just press the little buttons, take the metal poles apart. Again, I would recommend making sure that it's aluminum or some type of metal, because your child is going to be swinging in it. And let's say your child gets pretty big or something, you want to make sure that they're in a sturdy device. You don't want them to just be floating around or swinging in something that is going to make you feel uncomfortable as a parent. So ours broke down, making it pretty easy to move around. It does take up a good bit of space, but at this age in your child's life, whenever they would use the baby swing, they're not going to have a lot of toys. The toys are going to be things like rattles and maybe like the plastic books and little things that they're able to just hold. You can put all of those in a little bucket. Get one of those small garbage cans even, or you can get like a cute storage bin. We have some that actually fold up. So you just throw all the toys in there, and then you have a nice tidy play space where we had like a blanket. I got a blanket that came with a pillow that was an animal. So it was like a fox that was wrapped up in a blanket that had squishy sides. And that squishy side blanket, it was kind of like a fuzzy, not so much squishy, but that squishy side of the blanket we put on the ground so that it kind of meshed up with the carpet, and the top side was very smooth. So our daughter liked that, and that was pretty much our own little play section. So now the swing, she can go ahead and get in, and it rocks her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until she's calm. And so it doesn't only have to be for nap. It helps soothe. So if they're drinking some milk, they don't feel good. We were using the swing quite a bit. At first, we weren't using it at all. And I was kind of worried that there would be some type of physical development that didn't happen if they're sitting all the time. So we would kind of rotate and make sure that she had her tummy time, so that she would help build up the neck muscles by lifting her head up. So don't use the swing as a crutch where you're putting your child in a swing all the time and they are just kind of floating around endlessly for days on end. No, only use it for certain times. Like instead of me spending time rocking her, not that I wouldn't do that, but if you're exhausted when the child's first born, it's good to have a swing on hand. Is it an essential purchase? I don't know. So go to Dad Strength. We have a list on ranker.com. If you go to ranker.com and search Dad Strength, you should be able to find it. I have links, but again, our website's still under construction. So go to ranker.com, make the list, and go ahead under and vote if you think this is essential, because it's going to be a cost. It's going to be a sunk cost. Most of the time, you can probably sell them, but you're not going to sell them back for what you buy the baby swing at. Personally, it's an item that I would try to buy new. I hate to say that. A lot of things you can do for children buy used. I mean, I guess you could buy used. It's not as safety prone as a car seat, where you definitely want to buy new, just because you want that integrity in place. I mean, if you buy used and the legs bent a little bit, it could throw your child. I wouldn't throw them out of the swing because it does have seatbelts on, but it might tip it over, scare them. And then if your child's scared of the swing, it's going to be no help for you. I think we bought ours new, or it was a hand-me-down or something. But I definitely test it out first, because a lot of these toys you're going to put together, and you're going to be kind of in a rush because they tell you to go ahead and get everything ready for your child, but I don't see the need for that. You don't have to spend weeks on end getting your house ready for a child. You can kind of do that when they're there, because at first they're not going to do anything. So you're going to have time off work. Hopefully you get that with your employer. So you have time off work where you're just hanging out at home and your child is just kind of laying there in a seated position, not really doing much. We propped our daughter up like in the corner of the couch. The swing is a great place at first. Helps hold them steady, gets them used to some movement. I definitely start really, really low with as least movement as possible when your child starts to get bigger and they have that muscle. I mean, at first you don't even have to. I mean, it lets you buckle them in, so you don't even have to have it go in motion at first. Just set them in there. And they have like their own kind of little seat instead of buying like your own pillow or propping them up whenever they're first born. Because I like to do a lot of muscle stuff where I let our daughter crawl around and try to build up muscle strength by doing just activities and things. And it kind of worked out pretty well because she advanced physically very quickly. So that's one thing where you can use the swing for certain things and hope that does work out. But I do recommend getting a swing, just because as I was going through and making the list, it's kind of hard whenever you're thinking of, okay, I think we have 25 items that are going to be essential for parents. Some of them I wanted to be big time essential items. Some of them ones that, not too bad. Something that you could pick or choose at. And so here you have a swing. It's a bigger item. Like I said, it's going to cost more. It's not something like a teether that you can go pick up for $1 or $2 if your child's struggling and they're pointing at their teeth. You should go pick one of those up. The swing is something they're not going to tell you that they want. If you do have some type of other item that you think might let them kind of rock around or like kind of do the same thing, kind of soothe them. I mean, at first they're not going to be able to use walkers. They're not going to be able to use, we've had pillows. I'm not sure if they're on the list, so I don't want to talk trash on something yet. I have to look through our list, but the swing itself is a little different. It's bigger. Our daughter napped wonderfully with it. It swings back and forth. Some of them play music. Some of them have white noise machines. You can put them in there. It's something that you could feel comfortable with when the child's first born. Like I can buckle them in, have it swing, and I feel safe enough after I tested it. You can test it with like a watermelon, a basketball. You want something that's going to be around the same weight as your child, so watermelon usually works. might be a little bit heavier at first, just to kind of test the different speeds. Okay, well, this speed's a little bit out of control for this weight, because the swing, like when a child's only 7 pounds or 8 pounds, they're not going to have enough weight to actually really weigh down the swing. So you definitely don't want to go at the high speeds. They tell you not to shake the baby, barely move the swing at all. You just kind of like a little motion. Most of them have like a speed of 1 where it moves like a couple inches, if that. Or just don't put it on at all. Just have them sitting there. And then you don't have to hold them. Like if you have to run to the restroom, perfect. If they're taking a nap, perfect. You can sit and relax on the couch. You don't have to be holding them. Play some video games, read a book, do whatever. The white noise machine is great for reading because it knocks it out, or even like some of the classical music and stuff. If you're good with reading when that's on, put your child in the swing, let them take a nap, and get some me time with your child. So that's what I would recommend, and that's why I put baby swings on the list. So once again, go ahead to ranker.com. We're trying to finish our lists here over the next couple weeks. These release every Friday. So go ahead, ranker.com, search Dad Strength, and you can either vote up or down each item. So that will be, I'm working on finishing that, so don't worry, that's going to be up. And the site itself, these are going to be up somewhere, however you find it. The podcast, just subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, your favorite podcast host, and you'll be able to get the latest episode downloaded directly to that. And while the website transition is going, that's the last time I'm probably going to talk about the website. At least I'll try not to going forward. But that's it for this week. I am your host, Richie Leahey. Thank you for listening.